This episode of the only podcast about movies was recorded exactly the way you expect it to be when you hear me give this intro. Shahir was not in the room, though he had multiple other people, and that means you might hear some audio glitches, disparities, and, dare I say, injustices in the recording. Please pay them no mind. Just like Shahir pays no mind when super fun things fly by his face. Enjoy the show. What is up, Internet? If there's only a 1% chance that this podcast will probably implode on itself, then we have to treat that as an absolute certainty. My name is Matthew Kroll.
And I'm Shahir Dowd. Tell me, Matt, do your eyes bleed?
No.
They will when you watch this fucking movie.
Oh, no.
Oh no!
I'm just gonna sit that. I'm just gonna put that out there right now where I'm starting from this fucking movie.
Wait, so, hold on.
Oh no! I'm not even waiting for an intro right now. He's smacking me with a glove. He just smacked me in the face with a glove.
Dear listeners, in case you can't hear, with us once again, Batman aficionado Jerah Milligan. Oh, and another Bat aficionado.
That's right.
Vince Arrigo.
How's it going?
What's up, gentlemen?
Hey,
Yo, what's up,
Vince.
man?
Hey, Jerah.
Listen, I want
what's up,
everybody to
dude?
know right now. I'm ready for a battle.
Yeah,
I
get
can
ready.
I can feel the heat.
You better wear some
right
shitty
now.
Batman on
So
because that's
hold
just about
on.
to get ripped apart.
Oh,
Oh,
come
my
on. All right,
goodness.
hold on. I'll run counsel here. Shahir, I do believe there was something you wanted to talk about before this turned into a bloodbath.
Okay, before we got into the shitty movie of the day, I wanted to talk about
no,
another
no,
movie.
that's not helping.
The rocket hold himself.
Just as a quick side note, I managed to get to a premiere of a movie, a New Zealand film called Hunt for the Wilder People.
Okay, tie it into the Marvel Universe for me, please.
Yeah, well, I was about to do that. But before I even do that, it's a fantastic New Zealand film about a little boy who gets adopted into a couple that live in the bush, and it's all about the New Zealand bush, and it ties into like some New. I know you're playing on the word the way I'm using the word bush, but I'm going to keep doing it.
No, please go.
And it ties into like this great New Zealand icon, Barry Crump. It's based on a book by him. Now, the reason I wanted to mention it is the director, Taika Waititi. It's his fourth film, and you might have seen his third film.
Also a badass name.
Yeah.
I like that name.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
It's a good name.
cool.
Good name.
And he's talking about the bush. Anytime you talk about a movie dealing with the bush, I'm
You're
sold.
in.
Or the TT.
Did any of you
Exactly.
guys see a film last year called What We Do in the Shadows?
Oh, did you see that?
No,
Vince?
no.
It's
I have
so
not.
good.
Check
It's
that
so
out.
good.
So
That's
good.
real good.
Same director. That was his third film. This is his fourth. And the reason why I thought you guys might be interested is Taika has been tapped to direct the next Thor film,
cool.
Thor 3 Ragnarok, which is the only reason I will see that movie now.
Oh, come
Oh,
on.
come on. Stop
Ragnarok is actually a very good story.
It's a great
in the
story.
Thor. Yeah, I mean, I think you should want to see it.
That's when everything hits the fan.
Really? I should
does.
want to see
Yeah.
this movie? Really?
What?
Thor 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ragnarok is like the end of the world in Asgard.
Did you guys watch
Come on.
Thor
the death
2?
of all the gods.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
maybe
watched
watch.
Thor
No
2.
one
What,
said
the
that.
Dark
Thor 2.
World?
It's not the same director, you know?
Yeah, what'd you think of Thor 2, though?
We're not
Yeah.
talking about Thor 2 today.
It's all right.
This
It's better than
podcast.
Batman versus Superman, I tell you that.
Oh, you get the hell out of
no,
here.
yeah.
All
it
right,
was.
guys,
Oh.
in case you haven't picked up yet, I don't even know if I've said it. I don't even know if it has to be said. This is the only podcast about Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Thank you for saying the whole title.
Oh, give me a
You have to
break.
say the whole title
Thank you.
because
All right, yeah, of course. You give it the respect and give it the whole
the
Thank you.
respect.
Really? The respect?
was-
I'm more
it
interested
wasn't
in
really
seeing the
going of
porn
anything.
parody at this point, Batman if Superman.
Oh, you're so you're so
Dawn of
disgusting.
butt stuff.
You're disgusting.
Well, I want to talk about a little bit before we even get into this. Just for a real quick thing, let's just go around the room. Jerah, you're both Jerah and Vince are probably my best bat friends.
Yeah, awesome.
I like that. I like that. I do like that.
And tell me just a brief history about your history with Batman.
Okay, now this is my thing. All right, I will admit I started liking Batman. I actually liked the Robin first. Which was very weird.
Yeah.
Because then it went from like I grew up in a time when I remember first. I remember very vividly two things. I remember Batman Returns and I remember Batman animated series.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember very things. I remember
animated series.
Yeah.
it was great. But I remember Robin because Robin like could kick some ass, but he had like quips.
Yeah,
I
he
like,
was young and he's cool,
He was
you
quick.
know?
But I remember loving how dark, like to this day, Batman Returns is my favorite Batman movie because it is so dark and it's so grim, which is the comics I remember.
Yeah.
Now, I loved Batman throughout the years, but I feel like Batman got to a point of like, even right now, he's like the thing. Like he's like a thing. So it's like when you hear an album and it's like, man, I had an album, and all of a sudden your favorite song on the album becomes a single, and now you feel protective. It's like I was jamming out to that song years ago.
Yeah, but everybody's been jamming out to Batman since like the 30s.
Which is crazy.
But different Batman in a way.
Different Batman. Different styles of Batman.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to be honest, I'm not even a fan of the Christian Bale Batman.
I'm not either.
Interesting.
Right there. I'm right with you.
I'm not a fan.
To me, that wasn't even Batman. It was like a crime
That's
drama.
interesting.
It was not a superhero movie. It was not a Batman
It was
movie.
not a Batman movie.
It was a crime story that featured a guy dressed up like Batman.
I agree.
It was more about the
Wow.
villains. It
I
was
agree.
cool. It was a cool take, but
I'm Batman.
yeah, I don't like the voice was terrible. The voice was terrible.
We all know
I
the
think we
voice
can
was
all agree
terrible.
The voice was terrible.
We all know that none of us are wearing hockey pads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had
We're
its
also
moments.
going to tell people where the drugs are going. We all know this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've had a swear to me.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so I liked Batman for a while. So yeah, I like Batman. I just remember liking three things: Batman, Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, of course.
Those are three things I
That's great.
remember.
Now, where's that crossover?
Actually, there's a
the
Batman,
Batman Ninja Turtles.
which is actually
know.
really
Did you read
good.
that? Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, it's
I
actually
wanna
really
check that out.
good.
Yeah, it looks
I mean,
good.
it's just fan service.
Yeah,
to be
whatever.
honest, but it's
fine.
fun.
I meant the cinematic. I want the cinematic.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
listen, don't-
Well, I don't want the Michael Bay Turtles.
No.
Oh,
we get the
no.
Michael Bay Turtles and the Zack Snyder Batman. I don't know about that.
That's too
man.
bad.
That's a recipe for disaster.
That's rough.
Shahir, would
Yeah,
you
yeah.
review that movie?
Oh man.
The Zack Snyder Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. No, wait, the Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the Zack Snyder Batman.
Yeah,
I gotta be
team up.
honest with you. I saw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first reboot that came out recently, and
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was.
Look, I didn't care for it, but I didn't.
They weren't
hate
even
it.
was-
ninjas. They were so loud.
Yeah, it was like a stab in the heart.
Oh,
It was
Oh,
terrible.
Shahir.
It was terrible. It was
Shahir.
definitely
Maybe I
worse
just
than
don't
Batman
care
v
enough,
Superman.
though. I mean, I wouldn't recommend
that
it to
could
anyone.
be no, but
No,
that's
no,
interesting.
that's not
That's a
good
good
enough.
point, Shahir. Maybe he doesn't care enough. Anyway, let's get back to
You
Batman.
don't care about air.
Vince.
Yes.
Tell me your relationship with the Dark Knight.
Well, I love Batman. Batman has always been my favorite superhero.
He's wearing a Batman shirt right now.
I'm wearing
Yeah.
a
For
people
Batman
at
shirt
home.
right now, if anybody can see.
Look real hard.
Yeah, real hard.
I see it.
I've always been dressing up as Batman
That
since
is
I was a
true.
kid. I actually do a web series called Lighten Up Batman
Yes.
about Batman and his idiot, lesser-known older brother, Gary Wayne, who just wants to make Batman smile. It's a real, pain in the ass. I wrote it. I play Batman. I directed it, edited, built a huge Batcave set in my apartment. Kroll knows he played the Joker.
You make a pretty good Joker, I have to admit. And you make a pretty
kills
good
it.
Batman
Yes,
too.
kills
Vince.
it.
Guys.
Yeah.
Can I hear the voice? Can I hear the
I love the
voice?
laugh.
I mean, I do kind of a Cesar Romero sort of smash up.
really?
So it's
Yeah,
like,
Give,
great.
give us
like,
give us a line. Give us a laugh or something. Come on.
hello, bats.
Oh wow,
I love
it
that.
is.
It's also
good.
some
It's
Mark
beautiful.
Hamill. It's a little
It's
bit.
a little,
of
it's
it's
the
great.
laugh goes into Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
Marcus, the laugh is so
Good times. I
So
love
good.
doing
Great
those. I
times.
hope we do more of them.
I would love
But
to do more. It was a
everyone-
lot of fun.
There's 4 episodes. Everyone should check that out.
You go to lightenupbatman.com. You can check them out.
Do it.
So I love Batman. Absolutely.
Yes. Now, Shahir, what about you? I don't even know if you have a bad history.
I don't even care.
I totally do. The first comic book when I was a kid, I was given like a history of Batman book, which I like cherished, and I to this
Okay.
day have been trying to find a copy of it. I love it a lot. And then right after that, and so this was probably an inappropriate age, but I read The Dark Knight Returns, I think when I was
Gotcha.
probably 8 years old. And I've read it probably once every couple of years since. So
Interesting.
So like I said, I avoided all the trailers to this movie, but when I heard that they were kind of riffing on Frank Miller's Dark Knight, I was I was pretty excited. I was like, okay, cool. And I didn't watch any trailers, so I didn't know what to expect.
Gotcha. Well, that was a mistake.
Yeah, maybe. As
about
far
you?
as Batman goes, though, like when the first Tim Burton Batman came out, I was wrapped up in Batmania. I think I was the exact age to like
Yeah.
really get into that. I had the T-shirt, the hat.
You do the Bat
I had
Tootsie?
I had the Prince album. I was really into it. I personally, I think The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's second film, is the best Batman movie and still probably the best superhero movie to date. So just
I don't know about that,
think
bro.
so.
I'll,
I don't
to each his
know,
own.
man.
We'll move on
That's
from
all right.
that. But I'm also like so Batman, I have a real comic book approach to. Superman is more of a cinematic thing, which is like one of my earliest experience. You know, like I loved superheroes when I was a little kid, and actually seeing Christopher Reeve as Superman in the first Superman movie was kind of like a really, you know, formative moment as a cinema goer, you know, as a film goer. That was kind of like, oh my God. And this is a weird thing, is I love Superman 3. Of all the films, that's like one of my favorite ones.
What is your deal,
are you from Krypton? Like this just seems like it's not human. Like I can't relate, buddy.
He like the Michael Bay Turtles. Yeah, Superman 3.
I mean, at least you can say Superman 4.
I think has the best intro.
The Quest of Peace.
The best intro to any Superman movie.
Ugh.
And
Yikes.
Superman fights himself as a bad guy, and I think Superman even has 6 in that movie. And Richard Pryor's in it. You can't go wrong.
You can't.
You went wrong everything you just said.
All of that.
Anyway.
Okay, everyone has their opinions. That's great.
Yeah.
And just a quick thing on my Bat history. Again, I've never been a Superman fan. I think Superman is a good character that is, which, again, why I wanted this movie to work was I think Superman is a great supporting character. He's like the Hulk.
Yeah.
I don't want to see his solo movies. I know you can do cool, interesting things with them. More in comics, I feel like. There's actually a great Superman panel that's been making its way around Reddit about it. Superman basically talking with a woman who's going to jump off a ledge and commit suicide. Have you guys seen that floating around?
Yeah.
It's
and
really
and
moving.
The whole point there is that's what Superman should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a whole like he like sits and waits with her. He like floats basically. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I'm trying to stretch it. I'm about to stretch it out real quick.
Batman, here's something I don't freely admit a lot. So when I was in, middle school, like 7th or 8th grade, and I shit you, this is true. This is how weird of a fucking kid I was. Mm-hmm. I basically got into a childish Batman phase way too late to be considered cool. Right. So I used to I shit you not, we'd do like little movies and shit after school, and like I'd have a bat suit and I'd run around and do stuff. And this is when like you're supposed to be starting to like fucking like impress girls. This was not doing it. Like this sort of shit that I do, like people started literally calling me like Wayne, like
That's
Bruce
great.
Wayne and all this shit.
I don't get
it's
the
a
point.
compliment.
No,
I only answer to Bruce Wayne.
But right now, like looking back at it, you're like, oh, what a fucking cool little quirky bullshit. It was not cool. But I will say, I went to a school dance with me dressed up as Batman and another kid dressed up as Robin. Again,
That's
a little
awesome.
too old for
You
this
went to a
shit.
school
It's never
dance.
too old to be
Yeah.
dressed up as Batman.
Was it a costume?
I was
No,
almost going
it
to go to
was just like
Halloween
I
as
went
Batman.
there
what makes
as
it
me,
great.
and I turned into Batman like halfway through.
Whoa.
The DJ played fucking Batman when I came out.
How old were you?
Wow.
Too old. I was 7th or 8th grade. I don't know what age.
Oh, so you're
That's
like
great.
13.
Yeah,
That's great.
Too old.
Okay.
Too old. But I will say this. This is one of my pinnacle Batman moments and why I've just... just because I'm on this horribly embarrassing story, I'll say something remotely cool. A kid pulled on my cape as I ran by, and I don't know how I did it to this day, having no martial arts training, but I dropped to the ground and did a sweep kick with his momentum, and he fell flat on his face. Everyone cheered,
And you
and
kept
no
running.
one made fun of me for being Batman ever again.
Yeah, because at that moment you were Batman.
Exactly.
For that
You were
one
Batman, bro.
moment.
That's what the suit does, man.
And I've loved Batman ever since. Obviously, not as much because I've hung up the cape. I leave that to better men such as Vince to be wearing. But I like the Tim Burton ones are great.
I love
When
them.
they came out, I didn't hate Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. I didn't hate them.
Well, it's also,
I did
I was a
instantly.
kid when they
I
came
did.
out, so I liked them. But as I got older,
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
my
But you know when you're
yeah.
a kid, it's like you instant like I remember seeing was it Super Mario Brothers?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I
Super
knew that
Mario
was garbage,
Brothers
though.
and Batman and Robin, I just
were
knew
like,
Yeah,
something is
you know it's
Your
You know
palate was
they're wrong.
maturing
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
like it was like
Yeah.
something was like I don't know what this is, but this is not I don't like
Well,
this.
they did stupid things. Like I remember there was a scene when Robin breaks through the door, and like they're in the museum, whatever it is, and like the hole
It's
that
the
he
symbol
broke
of
through
the
is the
Robin.
symbol
It's
of
the
Robin.
Robin.
That's ridiculous.
And Batman has the
the
credit
bike couldn't
card?
even fit
Yeah.
through that. Yeah,
Batman has
don't
a
leave,
credit card.
don't leave the cave without it. Something else that bothered me real quick about that was real quick was George Clooney didn't even have a Batman voice.
No, he didn't
Everybody
even
else had a Batman voice.
You know what?
Even did Lighten Up Batman. Obviously, you
I
need a
will
Batman
say-
voice.
I will say I don't like it, but I respect it. Because
Oh, 'cause he was just Batman?
It was George Clooney.
Because Clooney was just like, yeah, I'm Batman.
He's like, I'm Batman.
No, but
Hey.
just like that.
He's
Hey.
like, hey, I'm Batman.
Hey.
Anyway, I do like Dark Knight. And it's you know what sucks? I don't know how everyone else feels about Dark Knight Rises. This will be the last throwback I do. But I will say when I watched it the first time, I loved it. But it's one of those movies. Hold on. With every subsequent viewing, I lose that passion.
How do you get
more
back
and
to
more.
Gotham?
Oh, he teleported.
No,
He
no.
bat
Hey,
teleported.
Matt,
I feel like I
completely
went-
am
I
on
honestly-
board with you, which is that The Dark Knight Rises, I think, as a movie-going experience is quite powerful. Like the way it's actually like put together. As a story, it does kind of fall apart the more you watch that movie. But I was with you. The first time I watched it, I fell in and I was kind of with it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my thing. I know we haven't got there yet, but I have more story questions and Batman questions about the Dark Knight Rises than I have about Batman vs Superman.
Well, that's because you
I
have
mean,
logic
like what?
question.
Like, first
I mean,
off,
it's
all of a
like
sudden-
questioning something that it's like
No,
questioning a book that
it's
hasn't been
legit-
finished. There's no point in doing it.
But no, that movie was finished. That series was finished.
Yeah.
That's what
that
I'm
was
saying.
supposed to
I'm
be-
saying The
finale.
Dark Knight Rises was finished. I'm saying there's no point in questioning Batman v Superman because it's like shooting fish in a barrel.
I mean, I don't agree with that, man. If I can, listen, man. I'm gonna say this. All of a sudden, one last thing about Batman, right?
Yeah.
Batman. Was it Batman? What's it called again? Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises.
Batman Rises.
Dark Knight Rises.
That works.
3 things that made no sense. 3 things.
Whoa!
All of a sudden, he put that leg brace on. He can kick the wall. He can.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he kicks a cinder
That's
block. You see that he
ridiculous.
kicks like a piece of wall.
Yeah.
If he can super kick, why don't he ain't just kick Bane? He
Yeah.
broke a goddamn wall. He can't break Bane.
Yeah.
2, he comes back out of nowhere. First off, he breaks his back, and he climbs up this thing, and now he's back in Gotham the next day. Not only is he back in Gotham the next day, which makes no sense, but he somehow lights a fire.
Yeah, on the
That's the
building,
bat
the shape
symbol?
of the bat.
What do you
Yeah, well,
mean?
look, that's the problem when you try to ground everything in
on board.
reality.
I know what you're saying.
But guys, you're forgetting he has the greatest superpower of all.
money.
He's
It's mine.
fucking loaded.
He didn't have any
Yeah.
money in that movie. Remember?
That's true. I liked that
Oh,
they
yeah.
did that they took back his one
that was
superpower.
But it
Well,
didn't. But in that movie, they say he's broke, but he's never. He's like rich broke. He's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
not even.
he still lives in a
How did
mansion.
he get back to Gotham?
I have no idea. It's ridiculous.
You know, okay, don't
Did they have? They had like cable in the cave too. There was like a TV in
yeah,
there.
it's like all he had in the cave was a TV.
and I love how he fixed his back just by hanging on a rope.
I can't.
Like that's ridiculous.
I can't.
Anyway.
Moving on.
So, moving on. Shahir, you had a question on here, and I think it's pretty clear, though, but I don't know. It's right after, it's basically you wanted to know about Marvel versus DC, right?
Ooh!
Oh, yeah, that's an easy
you know,
fight.
before we get into this review, where is everyone at? Like, like,
who
are
wants to
you
go
a Marvel?
first?
You know,
You
like
wanna go
it's
first?
weird because they seem to be. I think back when it was comic books, it didn't matter if you read Marvel or DC. But
It kinda did.
Yeah, it definitely
It
did.
did.
Definitely
It
did.
did, bro.
I never felt. I read both. You know, kind of equally.
Yeah.
I did
you
too.
were- you were-
but
yeah.
here's the thing.
And
I
it didn't
read
matter
Marvel.
to me which one was which, but I guess what I'm saying now is that now there seems to be a line drawn in the sand.
Absolutely.
As to,
I read
are you
Marvel
or are you DC?
and Batman. But so, like, all of
exactly.
Marvel
Exactly.
and Batman.
That's basically what I was.
Yep,
yeah,
that's where I am.
that's
But
pretty-
anyway,
that's pretty- that's pretty
Shahir,
what I
so
was.
what would you say now cinematically would be yours?
You know, the thing is, I have had major issues with the Marvel movies, as we've all talked about.
Really?
My my big beef is I feel like the Marvel movies are fairly mediocre. You know, like they're just kind of toiling in
Preach.
mediocrity.
Preach.
So I was kind of hoping that the DC world would be something darker. And I didn't hate Man of Steel. I kind of liked Man of Steel. So that's
Of
where I
course
was.
you
but,
did.
but growing up
did
comic
too.
book wise, you know, I read Iron Man, Green Lantern, Batman, Spider-Man, all kind of equally. But I'm just curious now if there's if anyone has a predisposition towards Marvel or DC.
I'm definitely Marvel guy. 100% Marvel guy. They won me
Really,
over.
Vince?
I knew from the beginning that they were gonna do the right thing because they did it the right way. They built each character individually, had their own movies, built up a fan base, and then when they meet, you're like, oh my god, it's
It has
awesome
some
seeing them
gravity.
meet. Yeah, like seeing them in Avengers was awesome. Like seeing that one shot when the camera pans around them, they're all lined up. Like when Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman teamed up for that one shot that they spoiled in the trailer, I didn't care, and nobody else in the theater cared. It was silent.
I will say this.
But my theater, one woman showed up, an eruption happened. Hold on. Well, you go.
Yeah, well,
first.
that's what I was going to kind of say. Wonder Woman, in my theater experience,
She erupted.
got
Yeah.
everyone clapped. But
Oh,
it wasn't
dude.
because the three of them teamed up. It was
It was
because
her
of
entrance.
Wonder Woman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, the
exactly.
Look, I'm going to spoil my review right now. The only reason
you
to
didn't?
watch this movie is to see the 10 seconds when Wonder Woman appears. That's the
Yeah.
only reason
But
to
hold
watch
on, hold
this
on.
movie.
I'm taking my headphones off and I'm walking out of here.
Yeah.
I want to hear how you justify this movie,
But
though.
hold on. Before we get to that, we're so close. I want Jerah, Marvel or DC.
This is my thing. It's tricky, man, because there's not. It's hard for me to say because DC only has one movie. I mean, technically two
Yeah,
movies.
yeah.
But I will say this: is that I'm more of a darker person in general, right? So I personally lean towards, like, for instance, Man of Steel felt. I know, like, superhero movies supposed to be more fantasy, right? But I don't mind things being realistic and, like, people being held accountable. For instance, when I think about Marvel, right? Marvel has what? Right now, what? 13, 14?
something,
something
like
like
that.
that.
There's
Yeah.
some
14
beautiful
movies, right?
number.
Yeah. It's
Every
in the
one of these
teens.
movies, they destroy half a city, right?
Not true.
Most of the
Name
time.
one-
A lot of things get destroyed. A lot of things get destroyed.
Iron Man 1, him and what's the robot one? They break up a fucking bridge. All right. Iron Man 2, they destroy a park. All right.
Yeah.
That's not, again, not a
Iron
whole
Man-
city.
not
These
only
are
is a
parts
park.
of
No,
a city.
but what I'm saying
These
is,
are parts
what I'm
of a
saying is
city.
if it was a real world, if it was, say it was New York right now, if a person messed up one building, all hell is breaking
Yeah,
loose.
but you know what?
No, but
But hear me out. This is my
Yeah.
thing. It took them 14 movies to address that, which technically, I don't know when this podcast is coming out, but it
Tomorrow.
still would not have been addressed when we're doing this podcast because the movie that will address it is not out yet.
Right. Yeah.
And this is my thing too. Avengers, right? I love that they teamed up. It's great.
Yeah.
But how many Avengers do you give a shit about, right?
Kind of all
But that's
of them
why
at
they
this
have the
point.
individual movies. So you
But
give a shit.
hear me out. Hear me
Yeah.
out. The thing about them, one, Age of Ultron can suck a dick.
Yeah, that was
I like
that was
Age of
whack.
Ultron.
I don't despise it, but I
every
was not
single
in love
person
with it.
has a one-liner.
Yeah, that
Does
was
anyone
corny.
notice that?
But
Every
I
single
blame
person.
Joss Whedon on that. I feel like that was really him
And
just
God
writing.
bless Joss Whedon.
No,
for
I
that.
love him. I love him. But
mean-
I feel like it was just a little bit too much. A little too much comedy, a little too many one-liners. But
Yeah, to answer your question, I'm a DC dude. I'm not gonna go. I want to get to the movie because my thing is,
Yeah.
I like realistic things. I like things where it's like it's justified and I can get it. To me, Marvel, I do love 2 Marvel movies. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is great.
Yep.
And I loved Winter Soldier.
Yeah, exactly.
Those 2 movies
Yeah, killed it.
are great.
Yeah.
Everything else feels like fluff to me. It feels like the greatest fan service of all time, which is good on their part. Because that's what it is. I mean, it should be for that. It should be that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for me, it's
Right.
like I like dark things that represent the world I live in. Sure. That's just
Wow,
me.
Jerah, this might be the point at which you and I diverge, but I'm on board with everything you just said.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we all know
Yeah.
we're about 50-50 on this beast, I think.
I
right
didn't
here.
think so.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be.
But I will say this, I'm not even going to get into how much I love Marvel or I could defend against these points because that's not the movie, that's not the thing we're
We've
talking
done
about.
30
We can do
episodes of this podcast. We've established that.
Yeah.
Right. What I will say is what I really like about the Marvel movies is each one, and yes, there are some, I'll be the first to admit, there are fillers. I think Age of Ultron is a filler, but it's a filler I really enjoy. I think Thor Dark World is a filler, but it's a filler I really enjoy. That and Hulk would be if it wasn't the first one in the continuity.
Yeah, that was
But
Iron Man is.
no, Hulk
Hulk
came
takes
out
place first?
before Iron Man, didn't it?
No, Iron
No,
Man
it came out right after.
It came out
It came out
after.
right after.
Then it can be filler.
Tony Stark is in
That's right.
Hulk,
Yeah, it can be filler. But I will say that I do appreciate that Marvel lets its movies feel tonally and structurally different. Like the
Yeah.
Avengers movies feel like the Avengers movies. Ant-Man felt like a heist movie. Winter Soldier was a political thriller.
Yeah.
Thor, the first one, was sort of a fantasy romp that it spilled onto Earth.
Yeah, fish out of water, it's
Captain
the-
America 1 was a fucking World War
Oh,
II
love it.
film.
Great.
Almost news, really. So they at least have diversity in the style of stories they're telling, even if you go across
But
their
you
television.
can't tell with 2 movies like what DC's going to
Yeah,
do.
I mean,
though.
that's-
But no, hold on.
those
There
two
has been a
movies.
mandate. There has been a mandate from Snyder and the people that are the PTB, the powers that be of these films, that they are dark.
Yep.
But my thing is, I mean, that could be true, but it's like we haven't seen them. Like, for instance, we already know Wonder Woman's going to be a period piece. You know Flash should be fun. Like, right now, we're saying things over 2 movies.
You're right.
It's like,
But-
it's tough
and-
to-
and-
and
hey,
it's a
but-
sequel.
I'm
but it's
saying
the,
things
it's
off
the
of
plan that they laid
That's
out.
the plan, and they've said that plan from the beginning. So that's
That
all I
plan-
can. You're
that
absolutely right.
plan
That's all
is-
I can go.
Yeah.
on.
That
But I think the
plan
plan's
is
going to
changing
change
as we
exactly.
speak.
Yeah.
exactly.
As of today, Suicide
Because
Squad
of-
is in reshoots
Yeah.
to lighten it up. To use your phrase, Vince, lighten up Batman a little bit.
There you go. They need Gary Wayne in there. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
they
needs
do.
Gary Wayne
Yeah.
in it. But, you know, like,
Gary
and you
Wayne,
can
yep.
totally see, even though Batman v Superman has made a shit ton of money, I think what they're worried about is the critic review is so bad for Batman v Superman that they're worried people won't go to any of these ancillary movies anymore.
Right, because no one knows. I mean, outside of us, I mean, in the comic book community and sort of nerds in
Yeah.
general, who the Suicide Squad is. They might know Harley Quinn based on like Hot Topic nonsense.
Yep.
But like, she's more than that. I'm just saying that's where she might have seen it.
Yeah.
Or people might have. But so yeah, okay. So we've gotten our sort of base of where we are.
All right. We doing it now?
Oh, hold on.
The gloves are off.
Are we still not doing it?
No, we're doing it. But this is what I thought would be really fun.
I've been ready.
This is what I thought would be really fun, and we should go around the room. And I'm trying to think of the order this should be. I think Jerah should go first. This is, check this out. I want you in under a minute, and I will time you to tell me. And this is spoilers now. Everyone's probably already seen this. I want to get into spoilers right away because it's going to go hot and heavy. So that there's no reason. We've kind of said our opinions
Under a minute.
all of the thing. I want you to tell me the plot. the plot
in under a minute.
It can be spoilery or it cannot be spoilery, however you want to do it. In under a minute, everyone's going to get a chance to do this. I think it's a really interesting way to tell who thought what was important.
All right, are you ready?
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, Lex Luthor wants to start a battle because he wants to get rid of Superman, but he also wants to get rid of Batman, so he makes them two fight each other. While he's doing that, apparently he's been given info from who we don't know yet, probably Darkseid, right? To get this battle going, to get everyone out in the open. And in doing so, he has made Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman coming together to defend the day. Done.
Okay, you're just going to stop there?
Okay.
seconds.
Can I
I'm doing a quick
Shahir?
Can I just ask one question about the thing that you just said? 30 seconds of what you just said is not in the movie.
What are you talking about?
That is true. I was going to call you out on that.
30 seconds
that's
of
right.
everything
No,
you just said
he says
is
at the
not
end.
in
He's
the
like,
movie.
at the end, he's like,
he does. Yeah, he mentions
he's like
somebody's
the-
coming.
he's like
from
the bells are
stars.
coming.
Somebody's
coming.
coming. They've
Yeah.
released a scene now where you see what could be like a dark scene figure, but it's
also
not
you see
in
you
the
see
movie.
you see not only you see the Omega symbol
What I'm
and you
saying-
see the paradigm.
There's a lot,
you're
there's
telling
a
me
lot
there's
of
a-
insider
there's a
baseball
drawing in
because
the
no one
sand
knows
should
what
tell
that
you
shit
this needs
is.
to know
Exactly.
no
about.
one knows what some of the shit is in a Marvel movie. That's the point. Is
Yeah,
it's
but
for
they
fans.
lay it out. They
They're not
explain it.
story specific or story like they're not the crux of the story.
But the thing is, it's a literally it's the tease of like, oh, this is the person pulling the strings, just like literally every. You know what the difference is? Let me tell you what the fucking difference is right now.
Pull
The only
somebody
difference
off the
is-
street right
hold
now
on,
and ask
time
them if
out,
they knew
time
what
out,
that scene
time out,
was.
time out,
Let's hear it,
time
let's
out.
hear it,
The
let's
only
hear it.
difference is
You only
is
used
that
20 seconds.
The only difference is that fucking in Batman vs Superman, there wasn't a fucking credit roll in 5 seconds for Darkseid to fucking turn around in fucking Apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? That's the only fucking difference.
Look how mad
It's
he
still
is.
the damn.
But that would've-
the thing is,
that would've
people-
made
People
sense.
do this. This is my thing. People make it like this movie's the worst movie ever. Let me tell you how many fucking Marvel movies suck dick. Over half. Let me tell you what you remember. You remember the movies. Oh, let me tell you.
Hold on.
Fucking
Jerah,
Iron Man
I can
3.
feel
Jerah,
your
these
anger
movies are
all
fucking
the way.
terrible. But people make it like
Iron Man 3 was
No one's
not
talking over
not
you.
good.
Go.
people make like these movies weren't shit. Okay, they're fun. Yes, Marvel movies are fun. It's entertaining, but are they good? How many? I mean, let's be real. Let's be real. If people had to name their top 2, you only name it goddamn 2. Winter Soldier, and the thing
Guardians.
is, I want to say Guardians, but I feel like Guardians was such a fucking crapshoot for them. They were lucky that shit came out good,
They were all
and we all
crapshoots in the
love
beginning.
it.
But here's what I'll say. I mean, again, everyone has their right to their opinion, and that's fucking great. I will say, I'll be real. I'll be real for myself. They're real fucking good, and they're all real fucking different in the way they're real fucking good.
It's fucking 15.
But hold on.
Yeah,
The villains
that's
are the
great.
same.
Hold on. We're getting
Hey,
off topic
Jerah,
of what I want to go back
I
to.
agree with you 100%.
I know.
I
Yeah, so
totally agree
that's-
with you about that.
that's good.
I just think your plot synopsis.
But yeah, that's
is,
what I wanna
is
get to.
Part of the problem here.
That's what I want to get to. See, the difference of having a Thanos character or a Darkseid or whatever. Is it Darkseid or Darkseid? I never know.
It's Darkseid.
Darkseid.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
The difference, the way they did it was. It's a little aside that has nothing to do with any character motivations in the original story. It's a tease for another thing coming up, and it's at the end, right? But the problem here, and this is sort of getting into where this happens, is this happens. There's a scene that we're talking about, this whole like post-apocalyptic future that Batman has a dream about, with Darkseid and the Omega symbol, and what are the bugs called?
They call Terrademons.
Terrademons.
Parademons.
Parademons. But again,
He winked at me.
Doesn't anyone know that
hold
in
on.
the movie?
The difference is that sequence is about maybe 5 to 6 minutes long, and it's in the story editing, and I'll get into this in a bit, of this film is garbage. And
Yes,
I know
that is true.
And I
Yeah,
know
that
it's
is true.
because they
Yeah.
cut it down. I understand that,
That is true.
and the director's cut, yada yada yada. But when this happens in the movie, there's no even hint that it's a dream sequence. You see a computer starting to load a file, and then it cuts to a crate opening, and it's Desert Batman, and
Yeah.
you're like, what? Like
What?
everyone, so many audible people in the theater were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And then he wakes up. Because you find out it's kind of a dream, a long 6-minute dream sequence. They don't set up like a dream sequence.
Yeah.
And then the fucking Flash thing happens that's like a premonition, but not really, but maybe,
Yep.
and it pisses him off against Superman. And then all of a sudden, he wakes up again. So we're not even sure if that actually happened.
Yeah.
All right,
Like-
all right, Matt.
Okay.
I can see. I can
Okay, this is
feel
my
the
thing.
blood
Hold on,
rushing to your face
because I
right
wanna-
now.
Oh yeah. All right, look. The minute I'm trying to get it under a minute very
why don't
quickly.
we do Vince's synopsis?
Let's do Vince's.
Yeah.
Let's do Vince's.
All
I'm going to reset the timer. I'm going to reset the timer. Ready, Vince?
Yep.
And go.
Okay, so Batman is mad at Superman because at the end of Man of Steel, Superman destroyed a lot of the city and a lot of people died. So Batman is pissed off about that. Now, Lex Luthor, hate Superman because of X, Y, and Z.
Because he's an alien.
I have no idea why he hates Superman. I really have no idea why he hates him. So he wants to kill Superman, so he's going to play them both against each other. And he's doing that for a dark side, or he's doing that for somebody. And I pretty much think that's the movie. Batman kicks his ass for a little bit and then realizes, oh, we have something in common, and we both got played. I think.
I mean,
Okay,
look.
okay.
Basically, look. I'm gonna tell you this. All right, you're gonna watch. With Civil War, and they're gonna be fighting, and it's gonna be like, oh, come on my side, be my friend.
No, but
no,
that's
I
not-
don't want to be your friend.
But
There's
everything-
a reason.
but
There's a reason
everything-
why they
every-
fight.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you
And it's
what.
a very
it took
emotional
17
reason.
goddamn movies to get there.
Yeah, because they took their
because they
time.
build it up.
They told a
They
story
build
rather
it
than
up.
throw us a bunch of shit.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this right
Shahir,
now,
you're next.
okay?
Get ready after Jerah.
I'm gonna say no. Go ahead. Sorry. I forgot. Go ahead.
All right,
Go ahead.
Shahir, you ready?
Sure.
3, 2, 1, go.
My synopsis pretty much agrees with Vince. Batman is pissed off at Superman for the destruction of Metropolis and decides to take vengeance on him. That's the only thing that I think this movie is about. Lex Luthor,
know what?
Yeah.
I think you could probably take him out of this movie and not make much of a difference, but go on.
Yep.
That's a good point. I actually agree with that.
I have a theory too that I feel like originally
Lex Luthor was
this
supposed to be
movie.
the Joker.
Just admit it, the movie sucks.
Yeah, this movie feels like the Joker was supposed to be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they just said, "There's not enough time. Let's just make Lex Luthor kind of Jokery."
Yeah.
And like, if you look at his character, it's weird. Like, first he's like serious businessman that's like quirky, and then he gets all like, whoo,
Yeah.
and then he gets like real god and like is obsessed with that sort of stuff. And I wish they showed the dark side or the parademons or whatever the fuck. The deleted scene that they released.
Yeah.
But again. And I can't even blame Schneider for that.
So much more sense to have that scene in the movie. It makes no sense to
Absolutely.
me that's not in the movie.
Yeah.
See, you guys did something interesting. You guys said what you. I'm going to try to, from start to finish in a minute, tell you the exact things that happen. Like I not even like the. I
I was trying to do a quick summary.
No, I
I
know.
just think of the things that really stood out to me.
Okay, here we go.
The thing that I think is
3
important in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But I want to see if I can get a just because we've all done it and mine will be very similar to all of yours. Now I'm going to see if I can give you the full plot of the movie in a minute because it's really hard and convoluted.
You
Here
know
we
what's
go.
funny
I can do
is
it.
even thinking about you saying that plot out loud is going to make me fall asleep.
No, you ready? No, you'll take a minute. Don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep. Ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, Batman was in Metropolis when Man of Steel happened. He's throwing General Zod through buildings and killing a bunch of people. Batman doesn't believe that anyone should have that type of power, and she has to decide that he decides he wants to kill him. But the entire time, Lex Luthor, for some odd reason, wants Superman dead too. We think it's because he thinks he's a god and he doesn't want gods to be among men. And then what happens is Batman decides he needs to figure out a way to do it, and Lex Luthor sort of sets him up with the weapon, which is the kryptonite, to get the thing that fell across the Earth with the other General Zod ship that was doing jackhammers onto the Earth. And then after his visions of a post-apocalyptic future, Batman, who starts to kill people now, ladies and gentlemen, let's not mince words.
He does that in the comics
And then he goes back and they eventually have a fight, a slugfest, where Batman is not really smart or a detective, and he invents a weird spear out of kryptonite to fucking to stab him when he could have just done a bullet. And Wonder Woman's around here for some reason because Lex Luthor has a picture of her because he's worried that it's going to get out, but no one knows who the fuck Wonder Woman is or what she looks like. There's no fucking point. And then all of a sudden, Lex Luthor turns General Zod into Doomsday just to kill them both because they decided not to kill each other, even though he would have done it anyway.
Wow.
pretty
Perfect.
good.
Look at that.
59 seconds.
But I feel like I need to address some of the things you said. You said some falsehoods in your.
Oh, please.
I mean,
Also, I'm asleep.
So for one,
Wake up,
just so everyone knows, all right, the whole Batman not killing thing, right? So I understand why people are upset about this, like, because Batman in this movie, he does get a gun. Like, you don't see him like just cap a motherfucker in the face.
He
but
kills
he does
more
shoot
people in the dream sequence.
Yes,
No, the dream sequence I'm not counting.
You count
Yeah,
the
no, I
chase.
know,
You're counting
I
the
know.
chase, or you counting the chase.
I'm counting the chase. I'm also counting
In the
when
warehouse.
he rescues
The warehouse.
when he
All right.
rescues
Yeah.
people in the
All right,
warehouse.
this is my thing. All right,
And he brands people knowing that they'll be beaten to death in prison.
Yep. He doesn't directly pull, like, he doesn't kill them
doesn't-
right
he
there,
doesn't- He's
but
a weird
he
sort of-
sentenced them to death.
He literally knows they're going to die and has someone else kill them.
Yeah.
listen, this is what I'm gonna say in this.
Yeah.
All right.
Not too heroic.
What this
Exactly.
particular Batman, right? The Frank Miller Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Shahir, you've read it. I mean, I know The Dark Knight Strikes Again isn't the best, but the Frank
No.
Miller, like the Master Race Batman, that's out right now.
Yeah.
This Batman is extremely violent. Like, this particular Batman would kill somebody. This particular Batman would brand somebody because that is what this Batman is based off of. Like, I understand everyone's like, that's not my Batman.
Here's the thing. I don't think the Frank Miller Batman would kill someone, but he was certainly more.
No, he did.
More
He's killed people.
He murdered a bunch of people.
He's killed a lot of people, as a matter of fact. And he has, matter of fact, the Frank Miller Batman has a gang.
Yeah.
He legit has a gang.
But here's the thing. I think, especially going back and reading The Dark Knight Returns and all that stuff like recently, and the older I get, I too read it maybe once or twice every couple years. I like it less and less. And this is not a slight to the original work, but it is, and I hope everyone agrees with me, otherwise we'll get into a big screaming match. It is a very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Juvenile.
Childish story. It's complicated enough. There's intrigue and things like that. But the Batman in that story is such an adolescent power fantasy of like, well, I'm just going to fuck everything up I don't like. And yes, in this movie, he's more like that. I don't find that nearly as interesting as a Batman who is, by all intents and purposes, a fucking psychopath. But he has this weird code that makes him so interesting. He'll go so close to the edge, but he won't do it. There's some power behind
technically,
it.
he didn't do it in this
I got to
movie.
bring something up to Jerah when you finish.
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. I just think, and yes, you're 100% right, Jerah, that in this movie, that's who he is. My complaint is, I think it's a far worse character, and they could have done a million cool things by not having him a car with the goons that blew up, then he grapples it and then decides to smash it around and roll them around like fucking ragdolls in it.
That was so dumb.
And then smash it into another car, crushing people.
That
was
Batman
so
rescue scene at the end, to me, that fight scene,
that fight
that
scene
is a
in the White
Batman
House was awesome.
I've been dying to
that was
see.
like Arkham. It was like the Arkham
and
game.
he doesn't kill anybody until the very end.
If they don't admit they've been playing Arkham Asylum during the choreography of that scene, then they're flat.
That's the great part. You know what you just said? You know you said you loved it? Because the part of that your brain latched onto, and at least in my opinion, was that's Batman.
Exactly.
But it loses that magic when he's just off the chain. When he's not reeled in. He's literally not any different than his villains.
Yeah, and if he's killing people, why is the Joker still running around? Why is all these other villains still running around? When the Joker killed Robin, shot Batgirl, why doesn't he just fucking kill the Joker?
But the thing is, we're doing a lot of speculation off of one movie, right? So technically, in this movie, Batman didn't just literally start murking people, right? If you look at a game, if you look at Batman animated series, right? Batman will take a person's weapon, and then the weapon will like he would do the move where like I'm gonna grab it, but the person's still shooting around the room, right? He does that in this movie a couple of times. What I'm simply saying is that this Batman is leached in a world that is tough, that is gritty, that is fucked up. Yeah. That's what this man lives. And this Batman, Zack Snyder and Ben Affleck made sure people knew going into this Batman is based on this particular person.
Yeah, that's fine.
Now, whether or not you like Frank Miller's Batman is totally different.
Yeah.
We have seen the Bat Tootsie. We have seen this Christian Bale version of Batman. Mm-hmm. We have seen a wisecracking Batman, which is George Clooney. We have seen different versions of Batman. To me, they tried something different. Whether you liked it or not, but they tried it.
Sure.
And now they have an opportunity in a movie.
I agree with what you're saying there. The problem
100%.
to me, is that this film doesn't establish who Batman was before Superman turned up. Like, this film does.
It is very murky. But
that's not the.
I think that's fine. Yeah,
that's not the point of this movie. He exists already.
And also, you know what's interesting?
It's like
he does. But this is what I found really weird, Shahir. And tell me if you're on board with this. There's a lot of hate about how the what's it called? How there's the origin story sort of in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But hold on. And I have a lot of problems with this movie.
Yeah.
I have no problem with the fact they spent 5 minutes stylistically redoing it, other than him floating up.
It pays
the
off
end.
later on.
And it's the exact.
Oh my god! It pays off in the worst possible way.
I agree. It's disgusting, and they shouldn't have done that. But at least it pays off. It does connect.
No,
but the fact that real quick that the mother's pearls get wrapped around the gun was so dumb.
But it's stylized.
So dumb. But it was so. It just looked
that
bad.
is taken exact. And Zack Snyder does do this sometimes, which may not be the best. You could tell he likes comics, right?
Yeah,
or he has
course.
some type of vision of it.
His Watchmen adaptation.
He likes the medium, but he hates superheroes.
Well, this is my thing.
I don't think he hates superheroes.
Oh, I
do. The panel we're talking about right now, just for clarification, people at home, it is literally taken out of The Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
The pearls, the gun going back and breaking it. That is Whether he needed to do it,
Yeah,
I don't think so.
It just looked bad. It looked fake the way they pulled it off. Maybe they could have shot it differently, or done something a little differently to
Here's
pull
the
it off a
thing.
little bit
Here's
better.
the
But
thing,
it just it was rough.
I was kind of like on board to watch this movie again. I kind of went in excited. Like I had no expectations other than I was like, oh, cool, Frank Miller's Batman is going to be on screen, and I didn't hate Man of Steel. The second that scene started and Bruce Wayne's monologue about the wind is no longer the wind and the past is no longer the past, I was like, fuck this movie right in its stupid face. Like, why do we need this scene again? Why do we need to establish?
I don't think you do.
Who Batman is
everybody
again?
knows. Everybody in the moment knows like how
Everybody
Batman
knows.
started.
And then the thing is, they play the best possible opening scene immediately after that. And I'm like, who edited
they didn't need
this
that first
movie?
scene.
You're right. Yeah, I agree.
They should have just started with the end of Man of Steel.
I thought
Exactly.
I thought they were. I thought they were. I don't know why I didn't. But let me just say this before it gets hectic and I run out of here because y'all pissing me off about Batman.
Let's see if we can get him to
toughen up.
Two things. I think I'm not a Superman fan.
I don't.
But
I'm
I know.
not either.
Yeah.
But I know people have a lot of like grief about what Superman like. How Zack Snyder's been representing Superman. And I thought about it because I didn't agree with Zack Snyder's Superman either. But, and again, these movies aren't fantastical, which sucks, I guess, because these movies may be too real, I think, maybe an issue.
Wait,
like, for instance,
you think Batman v Superman is too real?
No, I'm talking about how people are treated. Like, for instance, like, if there was a person in real life who could do anything great or grand, people would be weary of this person. Yeah. That's how humans are.
Sure.
That's just how we are. So for instance, if you had a person like that who could do these things, and this isn't me trying to defend it, but like I'm hoping this is what's going to pay off, and I don't know. But I'm hoping you have a person who doesn't know if they want to help, who has to learn how to be a hero, right? We saw him sad after what happened with Zod because he was a novice. We saw him, spoiler alert, sacrifice himself because throughout this movie, you saw him trying to figure out, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to prove that I'm a good person. So him sacrificing himself should be, in theory, the ultimate step to being a hero. Like, I gave my life for this thing. So hopefully, and again, this is speculation, hopefully in a sequel, in the new one, is like he has now accepted his role as a person who doesn't want to hurt anybody, as a person who wants to bring hope to people. That's in theory.
Yeah.
Sure.
In theory.
And that'd be great, and I hope that's what happens. But the problem with Zack Snyder's Superman is he's a big dummy.
Yeah.
The 2 points you're talking about when he is worried about
Jerah, I agree with you 100%.
Right. But
I don't think that's in this movie.
He lets in Man of Steel, and I'm not going to criticize this too much beyond this. He literally lets his father die for no reason.
Yes. Yeah,
for
that's
no
true.
reason.
Yeah,
You
that
could
is
have
true.
rescued him, and no one would have seen him in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
2, he
He's
literally,
about-
and again, spoiler alert, he stabs Doomsday with a big old kryptonite spear at the end of this movie, and then he could have fucking flown away real damn quick. Like,
Well, he was weak from the kryptonite.
and he was trying to jam it
but
in. He was
also-
trying
Look,
to get it through
here's
his
my
chest.
beef. I
No,
get that he needs to prove himself and everything like that, but they could have done it different ways instead of killing him. Like, if you're gonna kill Superman, save it down the road when you're like at the end of Justice League 2 or 3.
This movie-
Save it. Don't kill him the first time they meet up.
This movie
House of
did-
because now he
this
has to come
movie-
back from the dead and do all that stuff, and they're
This
gonna
movie
probably
did
have
feel
Justice League
like-
1 without him.
This movie did feel like they blew their load way too
They
quick.
definitely did.
But think about it. Think. Okay, and this is again, and I want to say for the record, I don't think this movie was perfect. But I do
really?
I don't.
Really?
But I do think when it comes down to basic, people keep saying like they got the characters wrong. I think on a basic level, the versions of these characters that they went after based on certain comics, they did right. Like for instance, if you're gonna put a Doomsday in the movie, Doomsday has to kill Superman. And to me, the thing that's very interesting about it is that they swung for the fences. And my thing is, I respect it. Like for instance, we know. I mean, I don't know. We haven't seen it yet. But Civil War, we're probably pretty sure we're finally going to kill off Captain America, right? I mean, I feel like
maybe.
Well, that's another.
like
That's
I mean,
another
yeah, but I'm
debate.
saying we
Yeah,
like
something's gonna happen.
I feel like now we're sure of like, oh, there's so much build up, something has to happen.
yeah,
So,
sure.
like right now,
Because you're right. There's a lot of filler that's like Ultron and Dark
Yeah,
World
it's like-
feel like there's not a lot of stakes.
Right now, Marvel's at the mid-season finale
Right.
of Dallas.
Right.
Who shot JR is where they at.
Yeah.
Fucking DC was like, you know what? Let's start right here. Not say, and again, I'm not saying it was.
But
I'm not
that's
saying it was
terrible.
great.
That's such a bad move.
But the thing is though, like killing Superman in this movie, right? In this story, to me adds so much because now what you have done now, and again, I don't know how the sequel's going to be. It sucks because it set up a lot of stuff. Now what you have done is you set up a sacrificed Superman. You set up a saint now, right? So when he comes back, now he has to be loved.
okay, no,
he has to be
I
that
get
person.
that. I
and
get
it
that.
forces
And it
Batman now who says multiple times in the movie he doesn't trust metahumans. It makes him now be a team player and be a hero when normally if this was a comic book he'd be like, I'm gonna go back to Gotham. Now it's forcing him to do something different.
Right.
He's like Batman, like singing R&B.
Here's
He's about to sing R&B, bring it back to the cave.
I'm about to go back to Gotham.
What do you got, Shahir?
To the cave.
Well, listen, Jerah, I think you're. The argument that these aren't the characters you love and this isn't Superman and this isn't Batman, I've always never really bought that, because like there are so many different versions of these characters that you could just go for any one of them, and as long as it is fundamentally Superman, that's fine. I don't care that he killed Zod, and that doesn't to me strike me as a problem. Like that he broke Zod's neck. Like that to me actually fundamentally works because that works in that film. The problem the thing about what you just said is that those story beats are so poorly handled in this film.
Yes,
that
that's true.
None of anything that you've just described carries any weight that makes me want to see a sequel.
That was the thing, and I feel like your love for this style. And again, we've determined that like you love this style.
Yeah, I think if
yes.
this style was told in a good film, I would be
Yeah,
100% on board.
absolutely.
This is the problem.
That's where the fault is.
This is a fundamentally terribly executed film. It
Exactly.
is poorly
Yes.
written.
I don't
Yes.
It
There's a lot of bad things.
Structured.
Exactly.
It
But it's
has-
not the
and it's
worst.
trying to
No, it's
do
not the
three
worst.
different films, and it
Yes.
fails
Yeah,
at
sure.
all
Yes.
three of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't blame the characters in it. I blame the writers, and I blame Zack Snyder,
Yeah.
and I blame Hans Zimmer for that soundtrack.
Yeah,
You
and
didn't like
the
the
Wonder
soundtrack?
Woman
Dude, it was
score
too much of
pretty
the same
badass,
thing
though.
over
It
and
was
over and over.
True. Yeah,
I
that's
couldn't
true.
take it
That's
anymore.
true.
I love soundtracks.
I'm gonna go
especially
on.
the
I'm gonna
Batman
go on
ones.
record and say I think Ben Affleck is the best Bruce Wayne / Batman that we've
I think
had.
he was a great Batman.
I loved him as Bruce Wayne too.
Bruce Wayne, he was definitely a great Bruce Wayne. I think the best Bruce Wayne
look,
looks-based
I
was Christian Bale.
I
My
don't-
favorite
I don't know
Batman was
about
Michael
that. The
Keaton.
problem here is
but
I didn't-
Affleck was great.
What's
Ben
your-
Affleck was certainly very good, but it's hard for me to judge him as a good Batman because he's in such a terrible movie. That's
like,
saying,
he-
like,
Yeah.
He
Val
knows
Kilmer
it.
was
That's
a
the
pretty good
problem.
Batman, but he's in a terrible movie.
But that Batman to me, I mean, leave the guns in, right? Leave the guns in. That Batman represented what this world is. And Batman has always been a representation of the dark underbelly of a world. This man was jaded. This man has seen violence. This man has seen horrible things. And when he addressed everyone else, that's how it was. And the thing is, to me, this Batman knew his place. Like when that big fight happened, Batman wasn't out there trying to like...
Yeah, he wasn't trying to grab. Well,
what's
because
he
they realized
gonna
nothing
do?
to have
You
him
know,
do.
I know it's true, but it's like... But
But
the
that's
thing is-
also on the filmmakers because they
No.
could have had Batman do some cool
True,
stuff
true,
in that. You
true.
know?
And the
My
other
thing-
thing,
my
hey,
thing-
Gerard, the other thing you're saying that this is a terrible, terrible world where bad things happen. I don't see that. Like, I see that this is a world that they've painted dark and like have terrible looking walls in it. But like, even like for example, Watchmen, the
a film I love, by the way.
Yeah, I don't love the movie, but I'm trying to think of the character's name with the mask.
Rorschach.
Rorschach.
So Rorschach has a monologue about like why he thinks this is a terrible world and it's not worth saving, and he describes a crime scene that he had to go in where somebody killed a little girl or something like that. There is nothing like that in this film. The actual villainy of this film is so cartoonish that I can't buy that. Basically, the thing that you're describing is simply the way the film looks, not what's in the movie. Like
If they
people
would've
have
killed the little girl,
people
this movie-
have
people would've been
grenade
like this
launches and rocket launches, and there are bad guys sitting in a warehouse all pointing guns at each other. This is still a cartoon world. It just looks gritty.
And it's the same. It's just kind of the same problem that you have with some Marvel things as filler in that sense. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not putting the things together.
Listen,
but hold on.
yeah.
I know Jerah, ladies and gentlemen, has to run because he is a damn popular motherfucker.
No, this is my thing. I'm leaving because me and Vince usually agree with Batman, but I see him looking at me out the side of his eye with just this stain. And I just want to end with this.
No, please.
I just want to end with this.
We have to get your final thought
All right,
early.
I just want to end with this, and I get it. And I'm not trying to sit here and say this is the best comic book movie of all time.
Yeah.
I personally,
Far from it.
like darker movies, and the thing is it sucks because what I'm about to say does not make this a good movie.
Yeah.
I just enjoy Batman.
Of course. Batman's awesome.
I enjoy seeing a Batman who I know people said his detective skills wasn't that good, but Bruce Wayne was like kind of like a spy almost, like he was like trying to hide stuff, which I
Yeah, but he
like.
couldn't even do it because Wonder Woman like played him.
Yeah,
Whatever he tried to do didn't work. Lex found out everything about the Justice League. Wonder Woman stole the drive that he was downloading from the stuff. He didn't do any detective work. Everything he found out was done by Lex.
No, but the thing is, he did. No, this is my thing.
Lex was a better Batman than he was.
Then he emailed Wonder Woman all the shit.
Yeah.
He found out. He found out
I didn't
Wonder
know
Woman's
Wonder
email
Woman's
address.
email.
Yo, real quick.
He found out Wonder Woman's email address.
Real quick, that intro to the Justice League was horrible.
It was so unnecessary.
horrible.
It was so
because
unnecessary.
if you have no
Gerard,
idea who these characters are, you don't care.
It was so
Gerard,
unnecessary.
can I just interject here and one last time? I know you're about to walk out the door, but I think the thing that you liked about this movie is the way it looked.
I like the way it looked, but I liked Batman. The thing is, Ben Affleck's Batman.
I think that you like the look of Batman and you like the look of this city, but I don't think the story actually connects up to that.
Yes, I would not defend the story. What I'm simply saying is when I think about this representation of Batman, right? I am giving this movie a lot of leeway saying, you know what? They will fix it, it'll be better in the second one. But as far as this Batman is concerned, I thought this Batman was suited in a world where, like, this is a fucked up world. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to shoot you in the face, but I'm going to shoot around, disperse you a little bit. I'm going to take you all out Arkham Asylum style, all right? I have a Batcave that's dope. I have the freaking Superman armor. I'm going to beat Superman just like I did in the comics. I'm even going to give you the line. Do you bleed? Like, I'm even gonna give you that line. Like,
that scene,
I also
scene felt like a wet paper towel hitting me in the face.
It was just poorly executed.
It was.
These
I'm
are
not saying
great moments that could have been really,
I
really
love
impactful.
You should
And
be
I also
mad.
love.
You should be mad at this. You should be mad at this because they're taking these moments that you love.
Yeah,
They're
and
taking these
ruining
moments.
it. They're ruining it.
This is my thing. This is my thing. I have never seen them. This is my thing. I've seen.
Big deal. I want to see them the right way.
Somebody hear me out. I've seen Batman be so far from what I wanted him to be. So far. I've seen a movie that people consider the best Batman movie, The Dark Knight. A movie. Who gives a shit about Batman in that movie?
No
one
does.
does.
Like the least screen time.
To me, this movie attempted to give you a Batman that fucking existed and was a man who was doing shit. Christian Bale do.
So
honestly, did you ever see Michael Keaton fight?
The movie you want.
Yeah, but that was
to
also
me, the
different
best Batman
you know what I mean?
visualization in the last 10 to 15 years is the video game Arkham Asylum.
Yeah,
I think that is the
Yeah.
Batman you want. Is that if you take
And this is the
Arkham
closest
Asylum
to-
and-
Well, I'm saying this is the closest this has ever been. You know what?
No.
You're
But I
pissing
think,
me off,
I think
Shahir.
Arkham Asylum is what
This
you
is me
want.
dropping the mic.
He's taking the headphones off.
I'm not shaking nobody's hand
Oh no!
because y'all pissed me off.
Quick, before you run away, say where people can find you.
Oh man, you can find me on Twitter at Jerah Milligan. You can listen to I'm on a podcast called Black Men Can't Jump in
Very
Hollywood.
good. Check it out.
Y'all should listen to that. We got a couple episodes, couple of guests coming up. You can also have a sketch show at the UCB Theater here in New York City. You can just go on UCB website, Astronomy Club, Journey Through Black History. We out here in these streets. Boop, 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 boop. That's what Batman would do. Boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, no, not my Batman.
Oh God!
And there he goes, the lone champion of this film. Bat grapples off into the night to do more justice elsewhere, probably more violently than the Batman that I would prefer, but that's okay. Thank you, Jerah, for coming. I really wish you could have stayed through. I know, and Shahir, I think you had mentioned something. You were talking during when we were in a screaming match about sort of his opinion on why he thought what.
Yeah, and look, Jerah, we're going to politely rip apart your opinion now that you're not in the room. No, but
No, just for a second. Just for a second.
Real
No, but
quick.
I think I'm actually on board with what Jerah is saying, which is that I wanted to love this film, but I cannot forgive the lack of fundamental storytelling that this film has. And you know, it's interesting. And if I look back at our past reviews, there are certain films that I have called not movies, and then as soon as a film like Batman v Superman or Fantastic Four comes out, I have to really think about what I mean by that, because the not movies that I talk about, like I think Jurassic World, for example, is a non-movie. I think Mission Impossible is a non-movie. And what I was
I think you're a non-movie.
and I was thinking
those are
about
good
what I
movies.
mean by that. What I mean by that is that those films feel like that there are action set pieces which have a story that's connecting them together. But there are other films like
Shot with moving images and sound
you're
married to one
misinterpreting what
another
I'm
that we
saying.
can
But
ingest.
then there are other films like Mad Max where they have a story that lends it that naturally leads into a good set piece, and the set piece is actually an extension of the story. And then,
the action has to come in
that's the
service
kind
of
of
the
distinction
story.
I play upon. But then
And the semantics that we get into is what you described to me are just two different types of movies. One is a good movie and one is a less good movie.
Well, okay, so maybe I'm talking about the fundamental reason why the movie exists. And the thing is
Yeah,
that
exactly.
whenever
And I
I
think
say
it-
that, a film like this and the film I'm going to compare it right next to is Fantastic Four. And those are truly non-movies because they are movies that, you know, what's the famous saying, which is that a camel is a horse designed by committee? That's what these films feel like to me.
I've never heard that.
I've never heard that either. Who
It's
designed the camel? A
Yeah, who
committee?
designed it?
you guys are missing the point. The point is someone tried to design a horse, and because everyone got their hands in on it, they ended up with a camel. You get it now?
But here's the thing. I don't think this movie, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, is designed by committee at all.
Really? You don't
Well,
think they were
this
trying to
is
shoehorn
Snyder.
in like a whole Justice League thing?
I think it's
completely
designed by
unnecessarily?
I think it's designed by the greedy studio that wants to play catch up to Marvel. So like, what can we do that
Sure,
will rival
the
the
skeleton.
Avengers?
But they could. I'm sorry. I could think of a way, given enough time, to make this rushed thing not feel like dog shit.
Totally.
But with Zack, this is Zack Snyder's vision. This is not. He wasn't being like, what does everyone else think everyone should be like?
Yeah.
This is what he thinks it should be like.
Well,
So,
what do
Fantastic
you
Four-
think about Zack Snyder as a director?
Well, once he was signed on, you know what you're getting.
Right.
You know the type of movie he's going to make.
100%. And I think I love Watchmen, and I mean, 300's okay. Again, it's one of that sort of like adolescent power fantasy that
Yeah.
still sort of works for me. And I think the Dawn of the Dead remake is wonderful.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I think Sucker Punch looks pretty, but it's literally a brain stopper. What did he do? I mean, Man of Steel, I don't like. I just think it was
boring.
It was boring, and
boring.
that's sort of what gets me. And I know, Shahir, that we have issue basically on what. I mean, I'm okay with fun for fun's sake, and I feel like on the remote times that you enjoy fun, and I'll say you don't hate it 100% of the time, but on that 1% chance that you do like fun, you have to have some real deep-seated meaning behind your fun to enjoy it.
I want my fun to actually resonate with me. Like I want it to be fun because the filmmaker knows what fun actually is. Like in the case,
And I will say-
in the case, like I think
I will
Mad
say that-
Max is fun. Like it's a really
Sure, yes.
fun movie.
Yeah.
But the difference is, while you need your fun to resonate with you, fun just resonates with me.
Yeah.
So you can have
Yeah.
empty fun is basically what you're saying.
As long as it's fun, I'm
As
having a
long
good
as
time
it's
watching
fun, then
it.
it's not empty. That's the whole thing. This is
Yeah.
the fucking snake eating its own tail shit.
There
here.
was no time during the movie was I having a good time. Like
Well,
I
that's-
walked
yeah.
out and
Back
I was
to
like,
Batman
I
v Superman, yeah.
never want to see this again, and I don't even want to see Justice League after this.
Yeah.
And so here's my
It
thing.
wasn't
Here's my
fun.
thing with Zack Snyder. I think Dawn of the Dead is fantastic. I was like when that came out.
That's a fun
Yeah,
movie.
when that came out, I was like, "Holy shit! Who is this guy?" He managed to
wild.
do
I
this
don't remember,
remake
really.
of like a classic in a way that felt
So good.
fresh, original, updated, and energetic. So I was kind of like, "Okay, cool." His 300 make, was not a fan of, but there's no way you cannot argue that 300 didn't make a huge cultural impact. Like,
It changed the game.
yeah, it changed the
gave him
game.
a
I
career.
didn't love the movie per se, but I appreciated what it did. His Watchmen, I think, it's weird. His Watchmen, I think, like made a better ending than the book, for example. But I think it completely missed the fundamental of what made that book great. And
No, you know what's wonderful? Can I just say this real quick? And it's kind of agreeing with you. What Watchmen did, he fumbled into making a better Watchmen. Because he has such disdain for superheroes.
Yeah.
I don't think he does have disdain for superheroes.
He does. He absolutely does.
I-
He further proved the ridiculousness of superheroes by making them in his style, accidentally showing how more ridiculous superheroes are.
I think
that's what Watchmen's all
it's
about.
a tenuous argument with his Watchmen adaptation because I think he loves it so much that he couldn't see the forest from the trees in that film.
He loves the story, but the story is about hating superheroes. You follow me?
But
that's
here's
what
the
it
thing.
is.
Yeah.
Sucker Punch is like everything you
Garbage.
needed to know. like to me, Sucker Punch and Batman v Superman are on the same page because what I feel like happened with Sucker Punch is he was given free reign to make whatever he wanted to make. And he made this abysmal film. It is god awful. It looks pretty. It sure as hell looks pretty.
They fight a dragon in a helicopter.
Yeah. But it's just an abysmal film. And I feel like the same story problems that happen in Sucker Punch, which are logic driven, which are narrative driven, all happen in Batman v Superman. So this is what happens when Zack Snyder is given free reign. And it's really unfortunate because
100%.
because I think like I've always kind of put Zack Snyder somewhere in between Michael Bay and Tarsem. Do you guys know Tarsem? He made that movie The Fall and that Jennifer Lopez movie The Cell.
He's more of a Brett Ratner to me.
Really?
Well, now.
No, I think he can potentially be a thoughtful, interesting filmmaker as Dawn of the Dead and 300 and I even liked his Man of Steel. But unfortunately, you know, like I give a lot of shit to Michael Bay, but at least the dude knows how to tell a story. You know, at least he can
even if it's a bad one, he tells it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And like, it's just sort of like it's funny where Michael Bay falters, like with his unnecessary shit about like cards that prove that his main character isn't a child rapist.
At least
in a Transformers
that's a
movie.
Story that like has a beginning,
At
middle,
least
and end.
he's trying. He's doing poorly, but he's like trying to explain his story more.
Yeah.
Where this movie,
This one is so out of order. Didn't even make any sense.
I will say
all three of us.
the editing was
work in
terrible.
post-production,
The editing was
The editing was horrendous.
So all three of us work in post-production. We all understand story structure just from an editorial point of view. This movie was so out of order. I couldn't even fathom how because I heard that there was a studio screening of this where they stood up and applauded, and I was like, what were they clapping at? That it was over?
That it was over.
maybe it was because I'm interested in, and it's weird. I'm interested to see if the R-rated cut, right? This whole like whatever. First of all, I doubt it's more violent.
Yeah.
I think maybe there's one scene of violence, but I think it's because it's like a half hour long.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it's all the connective tissue, ligaments, and sinew that need this thing to keep it together.
Yeah.
That they lost for time.
But that, you know, like for example, that scene that you described, the dream sequence, the Batman dream sequence, the one of.
But maybe at least shows him falling asleep.
Oh my God!
You know,
it was.
Well, I thought that was really weird because it went from Batman, like a shot of him at the computer, to his dream. They could have had a scene in between to separate them. So when you go to the dream, it's not so weird.
Yeah.
So it could have been like something with Superman or whoever, and then go into the dream.
And have Batman, this is from a directorial standpoint, have Batman, if it's a dream, when he's waking up in the dream, be a little bit sort of like, where am I?
Yeah.
But the other thing is, that is literally the first time we see Batman in action. Like we see him sort of shadowy
that's
in
true.
building, but it's the
That's a good
first time
point.
you see Batman in action, and it's in this fucked up dream thing. The fight sequence is just awful, and then you're like introducing Batman through like Batman as a character. Now this film is kind of,
And then bug monsters.
and this film is kind of
he
positing
doesn't
that
even
Batman
acknowledge.
is a guy who's been around for a while. He's seen some shit, and he's, like I don't know if they do the whole Frank Miller, he's been retired and he comes out of retirement thing. I don't think the film actually does that, but there is no sense of who Batman is in this movie, and this is the way you're introducing who Batman is. Like we're just basically presuming that that there's a dude who dresses up in a bat, but that's not the case.
No one in the movie cares about it. Yeah, there's one paper about the branding, but like when Clark Kent wants to write a story on the Batman, fucking Perry, who Lawrence Fishburne is amazing in this movie. I think he's really fun. He's one of the small lights in it.
Yeah.
I think that they're like, that's old news, Kent. Like, so like no one gives a shit about, like, there he is.
And do you realize that Perry's the only one that calls Batman Batman? Everybody else calls him the Bat of Gotham or the Bat. They only call him Batman once.
Oh, interesting.
And it's only by Perry when Clark against the Batman or whatever he says.
But this movie has, like, so a friend of mine has another podcast. I know we're the only podcast about movies, but
no, I know. He can have a podcast about something else.
It's called Your Worst Movie, and they decided to review this movie. But he pointed out something, and his name is Gavin McGivern.
I don't follow.
He's a screenwriter, and he mentioned this one thing that I didn't even think about as well. But even in that first scene where Batman is racing through Metropolis, and then he calls that guy in Wayne Towers, and he's like, "You need to evacuate everyone now." I was like, what the fuck is happening? Why haven't you evacuated before this?
Exactly. That guy needed Bruce Wayne to call him and tell him to get the hell out of the building?
I know.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of, if you're going to have this real dark, gritty world, there's a lot of stupid that just like falls by the wayside. It's for story reasons. It's to make things feel more important to a single person.
I do like that Batman has a Jeep because I have a Jeep.
Oh, there you go. See, they're small things.
So
I
by
don't
Jerah's
like that
logic,
they
you must love this movie.
unceremoniously. Yeah, I don't like how they unceremoniously murdered Jimmy Olsen, but that's okay.
when did that happen?
Jimmy Olsen was the
You don't know?
reporter in Nairobi.
Jimmy Olsen-
Something like a building falls on him or something?
Jimmy Olsen was the reporter that gets shot in Lois Lane's thing, the CIA guy. Zack Snyder
really? I wondered if it was
Zack
him or-
Snyder has gone on record and said that was Jimmy Olsen. This movie was too bloated. We didn't have room for another character, which he should have said that like 9 characters ago.
So we killed Jimmy Olsen.
So he just kills Jimmy Olsen without calling him Jimmy Olsen, but he assures us that that was Jimmy Olsen.
All right, whatever.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Anyway. It's literally like whatever. It's fine. He has the keys. He can play in the
so
sandbox.
then the problem.
Yeah,
the
but I
movie
mean-
has this other problem, which is Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Can I talk about Jesse Eisenberg for just 1 second before we get into the structural problems?
Sure,
You can
go
talk about
ahead.
the structural problems, and I'll talk about Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Poor Jesse Eisenberg.
He sucks.
Hold
No,
on.
he doesn't suck.
I
He's a
don't-
good actor.
I don't think
He sucks in this. I hate him after this.
But again, that's Zack Snyder's fault because I
Yeah,
refuse.
exactly.
I refuse to believe that the man who made Mark Zuckerberg seem remotely human, right? I refuse to believe that this skilled actor went into the read for Lex Luthor and did that read.
Yeah.
That was a designed character
Mm-hmm.
by Zack Snyder that he's like, okay, like I guarantee fucking
No,
absolutely.
I think just I'm not sure which character he went in to read for, but he went in for another character. And here's the thing: do you know who was
he
like
really?
seriously contended as Lex Luthor before Jesse Eisenberg took the role?
Who?
I don't.
Bryan Cranston.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Oh, God
he would have
bless
been
him.
great.
Oh.
And I think Billy Zane would have been a great Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't
Not
know
Jesse
what-
Eisenberg.
I mean, look, I appreciated that they tried to do a different take on Lex Luthor because
And I liked he referenced his father, like it's his father's company that he's taking over. He's the young buck.
Yeah.
I kind of
like
wish that the way they make up for that is have his father be the real Lex.
I know.
yeah, no, I liked all of that. And the thing is if Bryan Cranston had been cast as Lex, you knew exactly the kind of Lex you were going to get.
It would have been great.
Yeah, it would have been good.
But you know, like I can appreciate that they tried to do something different, but what they did, what they ended up with, was Jesse Eisenberg, unfortunately, trying to do the lip licking of the Joker for a character that is nothing like the Joker.
Yeah.
And the character's written so schizophrenically anyway. Like first he's a businessman, then he wants to kill Superman for no apparent reason.
No reason.
And then he thinks that he'd rather have Batman do it, but then the movie
how
kind of
does he-
tries
how
to trick
does-
you into thinking that it was his plan the whole time.
His plan makes no sense. How does he know that Batman
doesn't.
wants to kill Superman?
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
The story knows,
Yeah.
don't you hear?
Exactly.
The
I don't
audience
like how
knows that.
easily manipulated Batman and Superman
so
both
that
are.
so that whole scene when he's on the rooftop and he seems to like
Yep.
be pulling his plan together is just ridiculous.
But here's the
so
thing.
ridiculous.
But this is what I will say about that scene. When I was watching it and I saw it and there was like the Polaroids and all that shit, I was like, okay, this scene would be brilliant had it remotely earned it or even prefaced it at all throughout the movie. If the plot to get there made sense, that would have been a crescendo I was proud of.
Sure.
But it didn't. It didn't earn it. The same way everyone's sort of making a joke about the jar of piss.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
But
I didn't mind the
I
jar
think-
of piss thing.
I think that's the only clever thing.
Yeah.
Because it's set
in this
up.
movie.
'Cause
Basically,
it's
what
set up.
happens if you haven't seen it, they set it up. Lex Luthor and a senator have a conversation about, and she like makes a joke like you can put your piss in a jar and call it grandma's
That was
peach
just
tea.
that was just a stupid line. I
yeah,
think.
no, it's an awful line.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then it
But
pays
it-
off
but it
with
paid
Lex
off. Well,
before
totally.
he
No,
plants
it pays
a
off.
bomb.
It-
Just like the way in which the opening scene set up that young Bruce Wayne's mother
exactly.
was named
Yeah.
Martha, as was
I never
Superman.
put that together.
So it was set.
Really? I
so,
never put that
I
together
knew the
before.
Martha
Really?
thing was set up, but it was still awful.
Oh, it was so dumb. That's what like
Yeah.
connects
Yeah.
them. Batman should have known from the beginning. And you know what else bothered me too? When Superman confronts Batman right before the big fight, and he's like walking slow, and he's like, "Listen, I need your help." He could have stopped it. They didn't have to fight.
didn't have
He
to
could
fight
have
at all.
been like,
They're-
look, he could have just explained. But he was like, he walks slow, and he's like, "I need to talk to you. This has to," and then they fight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's like
you know, the
it was
thing-
just poorly executed.
The terrible thing is that it feels like Zack Snyder loves The Dark Knight Returns as a comic book because he's obviously paying homage to it, but he misses the thing that that The Dark Knight Returns set up is that in that book, when those two fight, they really have a reason for it, which is Batman needs to prove that Superman can't be a pawn for the U.S. government anymore. And this film just has almost no reason for these two people to fight. Like the reasons it's set up is so tenuous and so flimsy that one line would just stop it. And that one line happens to be, "Hey, my mother's name is Martha. Yours is Martha. Let's not fight."
That was so dumb.
Yeah. And you can argue, and it's funny. I feel in the absence of Jerah, I could argue around it that like Batman's such a fucking psychopath that legitimately hearing the name of his mother would give him pause. Like I understand that because at that moment he doesn't know until Lois Lane runs over and is exposition. P.S. Lois Lane is fucking useless in this movie.
Totally, and I hate that Superman saves her every single time. Yeah. He's always there.
I'm gonna throw the spear in the water, and then I need the spear, and then fuck, I'm gonna the rock.
And I think that's not really good casting.
Superman in this movie does not give a fuck about his adoptive parents anymore. He lets his father die in Man of Steel.
Superman doesn't care about being human.
And then his mother is kidnapped, and he's like, and he lets Batman go to save him.
It's interesting. It's very interesting because Vince just said something about he doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't seem like he cares about humanity.
And you know what's interesting? It goes to Jerah's point about this is the Superman that we'd get now. This is a Superman in a dark world. And you know what? That's a shitty Superman.
No, but
the reason he's tied to humanity is his parents.
Exactly.
No. And here's the thing, is that you're saying it as though that is a true character trait. Like this character doesn't care about humanity. That's not true. This character is flying around the fucking world trying to save people all the time. The problem is the story and the writing doesn't care about this character's humanity. And it doesn't put him in situations where he can prove it. It just says this is a guy who cares about humanity, and then he doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lot of like, this is how a person is. Yeah. And then you have to go on faith based on it.
Yeah. It's all, this film is entirely superficial images. It's beautiful images.
It looks
like
pretty.
that image of Superman picking up the spaceship. It's a beautifully composed image.
It looks short. It looks nice.
Yeah, Zach's the scene where the flood is happening and they've got the giant S on the rooftop and they pan around and Superman is standing, his cape is flapping in the wind.
You know what I don't like about that though? Because it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Superman should just be getting those people out the fucking room.
Why is he like flying above them, hovering while the mother has her hand up?
Because it's a beautiful image. It's not a beautiful story.
Yeah, no,
it's style over substance.
Exactly. It looks nice. That's it.
You know, this film is so bad that it retroactively makes Superman Returns amazing.
I gotta rewatch
the Bryan Singer movie. It makes that film good.
I didn't particularly love it, but I never was a lover of Superman anyway, so I just figured I didn't care.
Superman Returns is not a great movie, but again, unlike this movie, it actually strings together a story.
Yeah, it had a story. Exactly.
And I like Brendan Routh, damn it.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like you can watch
Pilgrim.
Batman v Superman on Instagram, like in little 15-second bursts.
Oh,
like
yeah.
That's all you really need.
Well,
because it looks pretty, and that's it. You're like, okay, I got it. Next.
I think that trailer they released back in the day proved exactly what we were going to get, and that's why I think I've given. I feel like I've not been as harsh on this movie as I should be, because again, and I've said this on the podcast before. If I know what I'm getting going in, I will forgive a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. This movie, granted, it's interesting. It tried ineptly to trick the audience or me into thinking it would be better than it is, but I knew, like Vince, you said, it's Zack Snyder, you saw the trailer, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
I expected the worst, but hoped for the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it wasn't. I definitely didn't get the best. And there's some moments of I will say this because I feel like I've been sort of shitting on it too. Jeremy Irons is a really fun Alfred in the world.
He was good.
With nothing to do in this movie.
No, nothing.
But that was it.
Hey,
yeah.
that's Rich Men Turn Cruel or whatever the fuck, or Good Men.
Yeah.
And then I think it's funny when the trailer hit and Doomsday was there. My initial reaction was fuck you.
He looks like every movie monster ever.
But then I remembered that Doomsday and the Doomsday story is pretty fucking shitty. Like, it's a shitty story.
But he's just a tool to kill Superman.
I know. So that's why at first I was like, they shouldn't blow Doomsday on the fucking thing. But I don't care. Like, they're rushing everything else. This is no different from everything else they're rushing.
Yeah, totally.
You know the
So, like,
interesting thing
Doomsday-
here is if I was I'm a long way away from this, but if I was directing this movie, the thing that
No, you should just do it. Do you want to do it? Do you want to make it?
yeah, let's just make a
Vince can be Batman.
You guys, let's do it.
sweet
I'll
a new
be
version
Joker
right now.
Luther.
But here's the thing: is that the way that they set up Doomsday here is that it's General Zod reincarnated because reasons.
With Lex Luthor's blood in a weird
which made no
chamber
sense.
of a
Because the
spaceship.
Kryptonite ship has Siri on board for some reason.
Exactly.
Because he cut off Zod's fingerprints,
Yeah.
and that's what makes it go.
Yeah. Anyway, but so if Doomsday is based upon Zod and a combination of Zod and Lex Luthor, then Doomsday should be at least one part Zod. This Doomsday is the cave troll from Lord of the Rings, and no
Yeah.
part Zod. You know,
Well, it's funny because
it's like if I was
it's so
directing
funny.
this, the first thing you would do is like, okay, make him look slightly like Zod, and make him have some of the memories of Zod. Make him do something. Make him actually a character.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny because this origin story of Doomsday, while it's super shitty, is 100 times better than the actual origin story
Sure.
of Doomsday.
Yeah.
There's a great thing, Landis's son. I can't remember his name. He's a director. Shahir, help me
Max
out.
Landis.
Max?
Yeah, I know. The
Max
Death of
Landis.
Superman on YouTube.
The Death
Yeah.
of Superman. Go check it out on YouTube by Max Landis. He did a 2-parter with like his friends like Elijah Woods in it and a bunch of other stuff. And he basically does a recreation of the situation that DC Comics was in and why they killed Superman and how they did it.
And how stupid
it's
is
such
Riz
a
Rickon.
fun video.
Yeah.
And how
Yeah.
stupid it is. And it's so fun to watch. Please check that out.
Yeah.
But you'll learn Doomsday's story about being like a baby built by a mad scientist and then killed over and over again and becoming more powerful. And you see him like get hurt and then become more powerful in this movie. Like, I get that. But like, it's just his origin story is garbage.
Yeah.
He literally jumps to Earth in that comic, and then he wants to be a pro wrestler.
Really?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Anyway, so this movie, I mean, should we just get to final thoughts? We've been talking about this for a while.
Sure.
Do you want us to do like one sentence, Shahir? Do you think that's adequate? Because I mean, that's as much it expected from me. I think.
All right. Well, look, my thing is, it sure is pretty, but save yourself the time and money. Don't do what I did, which is like go to a midnight screening, kind of pipped up on goofballs, thinking, yeah, I'm going to see Batman. There is someone has cut together all the trailers to make an 11-minute feature because the trailers for this film fucking give away everything.
Yep.
Watch that. You will literally get all you need to get out of this, which is some pretty pictures. You will see Batman fight some dudes in a warehouse like he does in Arkham Asylum. That's all you're going to get out of this movie. The only other reason to see this movie is Wonder Woman's entrance and her theme music. Again, you can watch that online right now for free. Please do that instead of paying to see this movie because we're just encouraging them to make more shitty movies. This is a sad indictment of the types of movies that studios think we want, and that if we keep going to them, they're just going to give us more shit like this. This has no redeeming features as a story. It is not worth watching in any way, shape, or form. At least with Fantastic Four, you could say there was incompetence behind the camera that caused that film to fail so badly. There is
And
very
behind
little
the production
incompetence
itself, yeah.
in behind this film. It's just people not really getting how to make a film in front of an audience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true.
Yep.
Vince,
Yeah.
talk to me, buddy.
Yeah, totally. I was going to say just watch the trailer because halfway through the movie, I looked at my phone. It was like, because I saw it at night, Monday night, and it was like 10 o'clock and it was an hour left. And I was like, oh, an hour. I thought about leaving, but I was like, no, I got to do the podcast. I got to watch the movie. But yeah, no, like Shahir's right.
Vince,
Just watch
I
that
can't imagine
11-minute
you
cut.
walking out of a Batman movie.
I'll tell you what, I was the first one out of the theater.
Yeah.
I was so let down. I knew it was going to be garbage, but at no point in the movie was I having fun. There was no moment when I was like, oh, that was sick. Okay, maybe except the entrance to the Batcave when Batman's returning back in the Batmobile when it's all beat up.
Yeah.
That was cool. Other than that, there was nothing that really stood out to me that I was like, this is awesome.
Side note, Vince actually built for Lighten Up Batman his entire apartment to be the Batcave with like fucking walls that looked like caves.
Yeah.
You lived in the
Yeah, I lived in
Batcave
the
for like
Batcave.
3 months.
Oh, it was like 6 months, maybe a little
Jesus
bit more.
Christ.
So
And we built it twice
this
too,
movie
actually.
can't get to Vince, the guy who
I
lives in the
know.
Batcave.
It was. It was, and it's cool because in my room I actually have the suit that we use in Lighten Up Batman.
He
that I
has,
wore in Lighten Up
guys,
Batman.
check out Lighten Up Batman because you'll see he built a case for. He has 2 suits.
I have 2 suits.
And he built a case and he has it in the mannequin on the. It looks like gold.
And it's in my room, so like every morning I get up, I just see my reflection
This
in
is
the
a
case.
Batman
Look,
fan.
Yeah, it's
for
great.
our listeners, you should know this. Vince is literally 1/2 step from actually being Batman.
That is
Pretty
true.
much, pretty much.
He's fucking trained himself to
Yeah.
the physical limit.
Yeah.
You're taking martial arts now.
I do. I take Taekwondo, Jiu-Jitsu,
okay.
and boxing.
So Vince, actually, just interrupting there. The fact that Batman does CrossFit, like,
Oh man, that bothered
Oh,
me
we
so
almost
much.
forgot.
That
because
workout
it
scene was
like-
horrendous.
At least in the Batman Begins here, you saw that he was trained by ninjas.
Yeah.
And he had martial arts training because the thing is Batman only trains in CrossFit in this film, and I was like, that
was
no way going
ridiculous.
to set you up for that warehouse fight. You are going to get the shit
Because when
kicked out of you.
Yeah.
when I go to fist fight a god, I
Yeah.
really need to drag a tire around and then hit it with a sledgehammer.
That was ridiculous. I wake up at 4:00 in the morning to go to the gym at 5, and I
Yep.
work out for 2 to 3 hours if I could. I could take Superman then, no problem.
Yeah, you're done. You don't even-
All Batman did was hit a tire, did a few weighted pull-ups, and only showed him doing like 1,
Yeah.
and that was really it. And then he was ready to go.
yeah. And then he put on an Iron Man
Then he
suit.
put on the Iron
And
Man suit.
it
Yeah,
turns out just doing those exercises, you are the quickest, fastest, most effective martial artist that I've ever met.
no, absolutely no problem.
And again, I want to say this real quick before I give my final thought. I think Ben Affleck is the best Batman I've seen on screen, maybe besides Vince.
Yeah, maybe.
But I will say that that's such a compliment because I feel like this version of Batman is not the. Does this make sense? Like I think again what I said before when Jerah was here. Batman is interesting because he has that line. He's that much of a sociopath
Yes.
that he wants to hurt. He wants to fucking hurt people that hurt people. But the second he steps over the line, he becomes a villain. He becomes an Azrael. He becomes, any of these other villains in his pantheon that have these ideologies but don't give a shit about human life.
Yeah.
And this movie fails Batman on that distinct level. They basically turn Batman into a Batman villain in a weird way.
Yeah,
Not
he's
like,
almost like Deathstroke,
kinda,
right?
but like less money driven
Yeah.
because he has money.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is my final thought. I just want to give props to Ben Affleck too because I really liked it, and I'm glad I hear the
I think
rumor
he's the
now that he
best
wrote his own
wrote it,
Batman thing.
yeah.
Batman, but I mean, like it's
Yeah.
the thing,
Yeah.
which is that he looks like a good Batman.
I'm praying he only took this job as a backdoor deal to like direct a Justice League or do some other
He's
Batman
written
movie
a
on his own.
Batman
Because could you
standalone
picture?
film, so
I know.
Yeah.
Think about this. Like think about this. Conspiracy time.
Yeah.
Why did Ben Affleck sign on to be Batman? He had a very, and still does, but he was on a very successful directorial kick.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's definitely directing the Batman.
Why did he choose to be Batman? What deal did he strike to be in Zack Snyder's fucking movie?
Exactly.
because
And you can
he
see that
needs
in
to
the
retire
interview
at
that's
some
all over
point,
the.
so he needs to get those paychecks in.
Yeah, but he would still get the paychecks coming in.
But
though.
he can direct till he's fucking dead.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm saying, it's just there has to be a reason. I'm hoping
Look,
that they said, okay, then you can direct the Batman.
Absolutely.
If anyone
that's what I
seriously
think it
came up
is.
to any of us and said, "I think you could be the next Batman," which would be strange in my case because it'd be the first Indian Batman, and I think that would be weird. But I'm just
All right,
saying,
I'll go.
If anyone came up to you and said, "Hey, I
course.
think you could be Batman in the next big screen adaptation of
But you have to be
Batman,"
in
it'd
this
be pretty
shitty
hard
movie
to turn
first.
that down.
Of course, so jump at it in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I would
But
jump-
I'm hoping.
but
I'm hoping my conspiracy theory is right.
Yeah, no, I think so. And that funny little interview that's all over the web right now with him.
Oh,
him
the song.
and-
We actually started the podcast
Oh,
with that song.
That's awesome. But you could see it in his face, and he's thinking, "What the hell did I do?
Yeah.
Like, what am I
The
getting myself
days
into?
of
Did I just
Daredevil have
ruin
come
myself?"
back.
Yeah.
But it's not his fault. I blame Zack Snyder, and I blame the writers, and I blame the editors
Yep.
on it.
100%.
But the thing is,
And
one of the
and
writers, Chris
in part,
Terrio,
Hans Zimmer.
is Ben Affleck's guy. I mean, he brought.
But I do think it's directing.
Yeah, but and the studio,
directing and
because I
editing.
think the studio was like, we need to match Avengers. We want to make all this money. We got to jam it in. And also, why are they doing Darkseid as the villain? He's too much like Thanos. Why are they doing that? They could have probably went a different route and not do the villain from the stars. Like, we get that in Marvel movies, and we get it a little bit better.
Hey,
so
but you know, one thing, guys, is like, as much as you could blame the studio or anything, they were right. This movie has made $500 million out of like
but because
No.
but because people want to see it. Whereas like a Marvel movie will make $1 billion because we all go see it five times.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to see this more than once. I'm really interested. I don't mean anybody, but I'm really interested to see the fall off in the next coming weeks. It's only been out for a week.
Absolutely.
I was looking at Box Office Mojo earlier. They did this cool thing. It's called the Superhero Smackdown, and it's hard to sort of go through. But if you go into Box Office Mojo, it's kind of on their front page, and it takes Age of Ultron, Iron Man 3, Batman v Superman, and The Dark Knight Rises, and it gives like their sort of like timelines and shit.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. You should go check it out.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah. So let me just say my final thought real quick, and this is something I tweeted and I thought was the best one-sentence review I could give about this movie, is that Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice is the cinematic equivalent to skipping leg day at the gym. Meaning it sets up a bunch of really fucking cool looking shit. It builds the most opulent memorial building that you could possibly imagine on a bed of wet sand. It has no core or connective tissue, and its opulence and its just giganticness just crumbles in on itself the second you basically put an eye on it.
Yeah.
And that is a sad day for the world's greatest. And I hope that Justice League turns it around. I hope they learn something. I mean, maybe they will. I know that we always like, oh, Hollywood won't learn anything. Like, I don't know. I just hope.
I think they'll learn a few lessons from it, but I think that Zack Snyder is doing Justice League Part 1 and 2, so we're probably going to get the same thing that we got already. Yeah. Maybe a few little jokes in there, a few little funny moments, but I really don't have high hopes for Justice League, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
Because I would love it to be great.
Because let's talk, I mean, we've been giving DC a lot of shit. Their animated movies are
fucking
always on awesome.
Yeah. The Dark Knight Returns was awesome. All those animated movies are great.
Yeah.
So great. I love them.
So, and it's so funny that they can pull those off. And
you know what the thing is for me is that I kind of like, for me, watching this movie is like, if we look at Batman's nightmares, his dream where he imagines a world where Superman is like
his daymare
is like a evil superhero overlord. You know, I kind of walked out of this movie going, that's the future of going to the movies now. All we get are these shitty superhero movies.
Interesting.
And I was just like, I was like, why do I keep doing that? Why do I get my hopes up? You know, when I know fundamentally, I've just been so disappointed by every superhero movie I've watched recently. Like,
well, that's because you don't like fun, and there's some fun ones you could enjoy.
Oh, good.
But let's go out on an agreeable note. We all don't think this movie is good.
No.
And we wish it was.
Unfortunately not.
Even though there's wonderful moments, not even wonderful moments.
There's wonderful moment
and a couple good things about it, but it's not nearly enough to save it.
And the Robin tease that they have with the suit, that was, ridiculous. That was totally wasted. They showed you exactly what they showed you in the trailer.
Shahir, where can people find you?
People can find me. Well, you can't find me these days because I'm all over the world.
You fucking jet setter.
You can find me on my website at www.shahirdaud.com. That's SHAHIRDAUD. Links to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter is all on there. And if you want to write into the Only Movie Podcast about our review of Batman v Superman or any of the other reviews that we've done, please write us in at onlymoviepodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter at onlymoviepod. We're also on Facebook, which we promise we will check occasionally.
I'm now an admin on it, so I will check it all the time.
Good Lord, what have I done?
Oh, you're fucked. Vince, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Brooklyn Basement, on Twitter at BKLYN_basement, VinceArrigo.com, VinceArrigo, and of course, LightenUpBatman.com. Check it out.
Yeah, and you can find me at MatthewKroll.com, MatthewKroll, or you can find me on Emperor MSK on Twitter, or Skeletor, the number 4, PREZ on the Instagrams. And check out all my life and works. Guys, thank you so much, and thank you to Jerah, who had to jump out early because he's far more popular than us. He's fighting crime. but he'll never
Take
find
that,
the
crime.
clown prince of crime.
I miss being in the room with you guys. I'm hoping
love that
can
laugh.
be
I know,
here soon.
Shahir, come home.
I will.
This has been the only podcast about Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. See you next week.
Adios.
We promise it's on time.